Hello, my art-loving friends. I was just about to put these Isaro paints away when it occurred to me, because I just did the voiceover for the Isaro video today, that I probably should make that convenience purple I was telling you guys about, and probably that convenience green. Why not? We have two colors that are nearly exactly the same. The Venetian red that's not too far off from these two. I know it's a little different, but just bear with me here. And we have space for it in our palette, so we are going to formulate a convenience purple and a convenience green. We're going to add them to this palette. What is all this, you might ask? This is leftover Arches paper from random swatch projects, and I want the best paper to swatch on, and since I have these scraps, I might as well use them. I also love the bao hung paper. In case you're wondering what I'm doing, I made my red an ever-loving mess in that last video. We're gonna scoop all that blue out of it. We're going to play with the color mixes based on the colors here in the palette, and then once I figure out which variety of colors makes the one that I want the most, then we can play with the mixes of pouring them from the tube into pans and making sure we have the right ratio of color to color before we commit to a whole pan of it. And then I'm not going to completely redo this swatch sheet. I don't think I'll just cover over one of these brown areas. It should be good. I made a nice mess out of all of these. I don't often clean my paints like this, but when you're trying to get an exact mix and know what you're doing, it's important to have a little bit more pure color going on. So let's start out by mixing this phthalo blue. I just finished the painting of the tree this morning, and that phthalo blue is still very wet, so that's interesting. Clean the brush. Let's get some of the rose, because I think that's going to be the purple that I like. Ooh, so pretty. I like it already. Okay, let's try that out. Oh, that's gorgeous. So that's phthalo blue and the Isaro rose. What happens if we mix the ultramarine blue? And this is such a pretty ultramarine, by the way. Let's mix that with the rose and see what happens. Ooh, I really like that one too. Oh, this is going to be a hard choice. Do we want a granulating purple or a less granulating purple? We'll let that dry. I suspect if we mix the phthalo blue with the scarlet red, we're just going to get kind of an ugly purple because, yeah, that's gross. It's not gross. It's different. Not gross at all, actually. That's interesting and kind of cool. There's a closer look. I thought I knew what I was going to do. Now I'm torn because that's really pretty. Let's try the ultramarine and that scarlet. Boy, this paint is soft. Ooh, that's ugly. Okay, a little more ultramarine. A little more scarlet. I don't think we're going to get just right with this mix. Yep, I think the ultramarine just is not a bright enough blue to make this work. So we will skip that one. Boy, it's going to be hard to choose between these purples. Well, let's move on to some greens for now then. Let's get a different piece of paper. I don't really feel the need to test more than these purples. I think that's a big enough selection to choose from. As far as the greens go, let's do the phthalo blue and our bright yellow. This is the Isaro yellow. And that's definitely not a green that I'm looking for. Let's mute it down with some of the yellow ochre kind of thing and see what happens. Nope. Now I'm kind of out of paint mixture because there's a lot we can do with this. We can mix some red in with it. We can do all kinds of things and get a different green going on. So we need to make sure we definitely explore our full options. I don't want it to be too complicated, but if we're going to make a convenience mix, we might as well make it correct. Okay, I don't like that, but let's try our phthalo blue with our yellow ochre and see what we come up with. It's not getting enough moisture in the brush here. Okay, so very minty, beautiful green, not what I'm looking for. Add a little rose into that, a little red. That's pretty, but also not what I'm looking for. So let's clean out, place in our palette, try some ultramarine, which is gonna make it a pretty granulating green, but it's probably going to be quite pretty. A little milky because of the opaqueness of the yellow. But yeah, that's highly granulating. Let's do the ultramarine here with our yellow ochre. And apparently we're going to mix it all together. Not what I'm looking for at all. Add some of our bright yellow. It's just milkier than I want. All right, let's actually see if we can get something going with the phthalo. Let's add some phthalo into that. This will be a complicated DIY if I choose to keep it, right? Some of the yellow ochre, a little bit of the scarlet, bright yellow. Ooh, it's a nice olive green. Still not what I'm looking for. All right, let's clean our palette again. Not really sure if I'm going to get the green that I really want. And part of me thinks I need the phthalo blue in there. Let's try phthalo and red. Get a purple. Mix purple with yellow and we'll get kind of a gray green. Yeah, gray green. It's a little closer to what I want. Just more pigment maybe. Okay. That's definitely a good start. So as far as these purples, boy, this one's so pretty, but that one is bright and beautiful. Choices, choices. Let's take a closer look at the greens too. I know it's still wet, but I still like that last green the best. I think we're gonna do that one. As far as the purples go, I already forgot what they were, so I'm gonna have to watch the footage back. I know that was the phthalo, but what was that one? Because that's the one I like. We know the green one, so let's grab some phthalo blue out of this package here. Luckily we have a little bit left in these tubes, quite a bit actually. I can't get them open. There we go, little shirt action. So we're probably gonna need quite a bit of phthalo blue. This will be a trial and error for sure. We calmed that down with the scarlet red. So we'll grab some of that. Not very much. This stuff is strong as can be. That might be too much, but it got on the tube. Dang it. And a lot of the Isaro yellow light. We're going to see if we're even close with the paint we have right here before we try and fill up this pan any farther. Definitely looks like we might need more yellow, but we will test that out. Yeah, definitely more yellow, maybe even more red. Mute that down some. Hope we're not wasting paint here. No, we're not. We'll make it work. No matter what, we'll make it work. Just the tiniest bit more red, I think. It is looking better, looking closer, besides the mess I'm making. Let's see what that looks like. Ooh. Not the same color at all, but it's pretty. I'm thinking a little more red, actually, I hope. Way too much water. Okay, so more yellow. It was so easy on this one, and it's so hard over here. I knew it would be like that though, but I do love that color. Ooh, that's better. Still a little bright, but not bad. All right, what happens if we take this color and mix a little more yellow in it, just to see? That's probably more what I'm looking for, so we need more yellow. good to know. See that? More yellow. That's the ticket. I'm not gonna have any yellow left. No, we will. This lid is not cooperating. Okay, mixy mixy. Takes a lot of yellow to change anything about these darker colors, but we will see what we come up with here. If that's enough yellow or not. That kind of had extra yellow in it, so that may not count. Can't tell which is the right side. This usually I can tell, not this time. I think it still needs more yellow. My poor yellow. Alright, I don't care if that is right or not. That's all the yellow I'm putting in it. I'm going to save my yellow for other things. The little pittance of yellow that I have left, that is. A nice full pan of paint going on here. Ooh, that's better. It's definitely a more earthy green. That could probably work. We're going to call that good. What do you guys think? I think it's beautiful. Yeah, good enough. All right, what was that purple? I watched the footage back. That is the ultramarine blue with the rose. That's what we're gonna do. Lost my pan. There it is. Ultramarine blue. These are so tight. What happened? I wonder how these compare to each other strength-wise. If the ultramarine is going to overpower, if the rose is going to overpower, or if they are going to be somewhat equal. It will be fun to find out as we do this mix. And I'm so excited to have convenience colors in this palette. It's going to be amazing. Okay, so we almost did equal mix there. Kind of, sorta. The ultramarine looks like it's the stronger one, maybe. It is turning nice and purple, however. Still think it leans a little towards blue, more than I want, but we'll find out. It's hard to tell when you have a deep dark purple in a pan. Looks pretty dark no matter what you do. Wow, can tell it's gonna be pretty already though. Oh my gosh, that is beautiful. Oh, wow. I'm in love. I'm in love. Okay, let's make sure that's actually color here. Ooh, look how dark it can get. Okay, that is absolutely perfect. So I think I'll just fill up this pan a little bit more. A little more ultramarine, a little more rose. Should be good. Do the mixy mix. Looks a little lighter this time, but we will keep mixing and find out. Let's add some water down first. Get some of our mix on the brush. I have enough water on the brush the paint doesn't want to stick to it. Whoa! That is so pretty. That is very purple. Do I want it this purple or do I want it more rosy purple? Kind of like it as is, but I'm not sure. I think I'll add just the tiniest touch more of rose. That is a tiny touch, but maybe it will make a difference. That really didn't count on that side. That had a lot of unmixed rose on it, but let's see this side. Looks just as dark. Does not seem any more rosier. Yeah, maybe it does. Just a little bit, or just added more water, I don't know. I'm thinking one more little touch of rose, and then we'll call it good no matter what. Let's see what that looks like. That's more what I'm looking for. Ooh. Awesome. I actually think I will redo this swatch sheet completely. After all, because it's not that much work. It's a little bit of work, but not that much work. Where's my green? Yeah, am I happy with that green? Yeah, I really like that green. Purple, beautiful. All right, so I only need to take out one of these two colors. And I'm thinking I was thinking I would keep the oxide orange because it's a lot stronger. It's this one here than the burnt sienna, but it is also a little bit more orange than the burnt sienna, so I don't know that that's necessarily a good thing. But the burnt sienna is not very pigmented in my opinion. Let's see if we can get more color out of that burnt sienna than I was getting initially and see if I'm maybe wrong about that. Not so far, but that was a lot of water in the brush. Yeah, it's just not my favorite burnt sienna. Let's try this oxide orange. That seems so opaque. Ugh. I don't like any of them. They look exactly the same almost. Well, I think the oxide orange is a little bit more bleh to me than the burnt sienna, so I'm going to keep the burnt sienna. I do want to see the Venetian red again because that's just a pretty color. Ooh. Okay. Curiosity appeased. Burnt sienna is... No. Burnt sienna is staying. Oxide orange is going to be taken out for now. That seems sad. Oh well. So this little pan is a goner. Ooh, that sticky tape stuck way more than I thought it would. Wow, that's impressive. Score tape, anyone? Score tape for the win. I'll go ahead and put that, just stick it on in here. Oops, that really stuck fast. Maybe over, no, right here's fine. And I'll put these as my spares in my watercolor bin. And I will add the purple and the green, except I probably don't want them in this order necessarily. I think I'm going to scooch this over. Camera turned off, don't know when, but I'm going to put... And then the camera shut off again. The darn camera just shuts itself off without beeping at you, warning you, anything when the battery gets low. It's kind of frustrating, but something that I am learning to deal with and trying to keep a better eye on. But you can see that I labeled the pans with a Milwaukee Inksol. They're better than Sharpies in my opinion. And then grab the score tape. I put the green next to the oxide orange, and the purple I put above the Payne's gray on the bottom. So I'm just checking my measurements again on my swatch sheet and making a brand new one, which is fun and annoying all at the same time. And as far as the re-wetting of these paints, because I had a few questions in the comments of the last video ask me if these re-wet very well, I would say that they are not the worst re-wetting paints that I've ever used by far. The Himi Mia ones, actually, when I switch back over to those because I'm trying to use them up, they kind of frustrate me re-wetting them, and they never used to, so I think it's just because I've used such high quality paints here and there in between, and then you go back to something that's harder to re-wet, and it's frustrating. So these are probably middle of the road. They're not as easy to re-wet as Core or Rosa Gallery or M. Graham or even Mission Gold, but they're not as bad as when I like squeeze my Winsor & Newton straight out from the tube without adding glycerin or anything like that and let them dry, because those do take some effort to re-wet because of the way I do that. So I guess my point that I'm trying to get across is they're not bad. I don't think they'll bug you at all to re-wet them. Maybe here and there a little bit when you're in a hurry, but other than that, just take it easy and paint and enjoy yourself. And while I had the paints out, I had a couple of extra of my swatch sheets from my big watercolor project. I decided to go ahead and do the swatches for that so I could add them in here because these are full pans, which means they're going to last a long time. So if I have this DIY green in my mixture of paint and I ever want to pull it out and use it in a different palette, I'll have the swatch in there so that I can compare it with my other greens. And same with the purple. Might as well add that into the mix because it is a beautiful purple. It's kind of like self-made mineral violet. I love it. My own version, right? And I've had a few questions about the salt that I put on my swatches, and there's a couple of reasons I do that. I do it because it adds interest to the swatch. It just makes it look pretty and I don't know, makes me want to look at it more. Plus, it also does show me how the particular paint mixture or pigment will react to salt if I use that on my piece with that particular color. So that's why I like to do that. We have them dried and labeled. I tried to guess on the percentages of each color that I put in there and label that down below, but it looks like we made a pretty nice minerally violet kind of color. Love the separation that you get when you add salt or a lot of water. And the green is also quite nice. Think I did good. I like that green. So in the original configuration of this palette, I just didn't feel like I would ever reach for it willingly. It's just too heavy in this area. And now I'm more excited to reach for this palette. Now in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I could use that. and just some simple convenience mixes. Even though you could mix them anytime you want, they're just ready to go now, and the palette feels better. It feels more rounded, and I love it. What convenience mixes would you guys have made out of this palette? I'm kind of curious. And would you have taken out the same color I did, or would you have taken something else out? Let me know in the comments below. I'm just dying to read your comments, and I haven't been great at responding to comments lately. I've been a little bit overwhelmed. I don't want to say overwhelmed because that sounds very negative, but I've been really busy. But I have read all your comments. Please do know that I have read them all. I am trying to reply to some when I can, but your comments are important to me, so keep them coming. I really, really appreciate them. All right, guys, we have a useful palette now. I'm very happy about that. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now. I watched the footage back, and that is the...